Jalen Ramsey, there's been video of him getting back to the practice field down there in Miami.
Yeah.
And Miami's defense has been the thing that isn't really the one garnering the headlines. It's the offense. Now, can you win a championship without a championship defense? Everybody says no. Jalen Ramsey would make that defense infinitely better. Do you agree with that? And then also, do you appreciate the fact that Jalen Ramsey saw Schefter's tweet that said, there's a good chance he's going to be playing this weekend, and Jalen goes, this is news to me, Shefty. And kind of dunks on him a little bit with that entire thing. How do you feel about the Jalen Ramsey acquisition to Miami? And how do you feel about him as a player? And if he comes back, what's he going to be like, you think, in the Miami defense?
In that defense, they're missing him. And they've built that with Vic Fangio. They've built that defense around the type of players like Jalen Ramsey. And I believe when Jalen Ramsey comes in, he's going to be that missing link that they really need. As a player, man, he's a heck of a player. He makes his presence known on the field, a willing tackler, can diagnose and also identify alignment and assignment and what those responsibilities are, and he's Super Bowl champ.
Yeah, and anybody that's been able to win a championship, do your thing. Didn't work at Jacksonville. L.A. didn't hear like it didn't work, right?
No, not at all.
Great.
That kind of ended out of nowhere, didn't it?
I think the L.A. Rams last year with OBJ, with Von Miller, all those guys, they started to kind of sell off just because of the salary cap restrictions and being over the salary cap. So it was part of the process.
So I think there are some people on the internet, though, that are like, who cares Jalen's coming back to Miami? It
You need
doesn't
to care.
work. It's like, it worked in L.A.
Yeah.
It worked in L.A.
Yeah.
It was not a bad thing at all. Ty, how do you feel about him dunking on Shefty and that? And do we think, we've seen some of these situations happen in the past where our friend Rap Sheet, former friend of the program, still friend of ours personally.
Right.
Okay, he hosts a live show. I hope you go watch it on NFL Plus. He's phenomenal at what he does. He's broke some news. Player has disagreed, and then it turned out Rap was actually inevitably right 2-3 months later.
J.K. Dobbins.
Player was wrong. In this particular situation, I would assume Shefty feels like he's very confident in his news. Jalen Ramsey obviously says, wait a second, I'm still a part of this conversation. How do you feel about how he handled it, Ty?
I absolutely love when guys dunk on the insiders. I just do. They have all the information. They always think they're right. And a lot of times they are right, but I love when these players are like, hey, listen, I don't want things too chummy around here, okay? This guy thinks he knows everything that's going on with my playing career, with my personal life. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of serve him a plate full of shit real quick and maybe just let him think real quick, like, okay, maybe I don't know. Maybe I need to go back and check my sources and see if this is correct. And then when inevitably he does come back, I don't know if it'll be this weekend, but when he does come back, Schefter can, take a little victory dance and say he was right, and Jalen can say, yeah, you were right, but, I'm not trying to give anyone a competitive advantage. I can't let people know that I'm coming back sooner. I want this to be a big hullabaloo when I come back. I don't need you breaking it 2 weeks early. I love it.
Shefty told us.
Yep.
That Jalen likes breaking his own news. That is on the show on Monday. Shefty was like, that one's real tight to the vest over there. Jalen likes controlling his own narrative, his own story. And then here we are just a few days later, and Shefty's like, I do believe Jalen's coming back. And Jalen's like, you shut the hell up whenever you're talking about me. I love it all. And Jalen said he knows he has a job to do and everything like that. Can't help but notice, I don't know if you saw this, WVU alumni. That's the Harvard of West Virginia right there. That person graduated.
Utah chapter?
Utah chapter. Look at that. You got greatness out here in Utah, pal? Did you know that, Steve?
No, I didn't. I did. You asked me a question, I answered. I didn't. True. I'm sorry.
Whenever you talk about greatest wide receivers in the game right now, I assume Tyreek Hill has to be at the top of your list.
Tyreek Hill is baller.
Has anyone done that? Anyone goes horizontal and vertical with as much speed and suddenness as Tyreek? Usually it's he just has it all, I feel like.
He does. He has it all. And then with Mike McDaniels, the way he has drawn up plays for these guys, he uses motion, 86% of the time. But what's really interesting, and I was actually watching that film, I was watching 30 or 40 plays that looked the same, but I was trying to figure out, I was missing something. And it's really as they expand and they make the defense commit. And how they expand is with motion. How they make them commit is with the RPO game. And it's crazy.
How do you defend it? How do you defend that, honestly?
I mean, you play defense, you tell me. I don't know.
Yeah, you tell us.
The RPO game throws everything off, I feel like, because you can't you can't play super downhill if you're like a linebacker or safety, and you just can't commit either way. You're kind of in between every play, and that's what I don't know. I'm glad I'm not a defender anymore.
Tyreek Hill was actually maybe not playing this weekend because of a hip. He's had a couple cramps allegedly. We assume
It's hot in Florida too, though.
It is hot in Florida, but Tyreek Hill, for how explosive he is and like 0.01% body fat that he has, he's very durable. I think that's what he has.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Have you seen his hamstrings?
I don't look at
Vascularity
another
on the
man.
hamstrings, pal. Through the pants. Whose
Oh, you
neck's
looking
got
at his
that-
hamstring through the pants?
Well, whenever he's chucking up the deuce, it's hard not to down in Miami. It's
got a
impossible.
dump truck.
But he came
Super
out to
pause
speak
right
about.
there,
That's all day, every day. That's all day, every day. Tyreek Hill came out and spoke about the injuries and whether or not he's playing.
Is there much pain? Do you have an injury, or are you fine for Sunday?
Nah, I just wanted some attention, man, because my mom wouldn't talk to me yesterday, so I needed some attention from somebody. Nah, I'm good, though.
Good.
Plan on playing
Playing
on Sunday?
Sunday?
Yeah, baby, I'm good, baby.
Okay, so what do you hear whenever you hear that, Steve? That's a guy who is sick of people talking about him potentially being injured. He is not known to ever get hurt. I appreciate the fact of the way you said, my mom wouldn't talk to me. I just need a little attention. It's certainly a lot of attention when the best wide receiver in football is potentially out, and that never happens. I love Tyreek Hill. I think everything he does is sweet, and this team's much different without him. Yeah. How do you feel about the whole conversation around his hip, though? You think it's real, or do you think his answer tells us it's not at all?
I think it's real, he obviously, because it's on the injury report, so it has to be real, right? But he's a competitor, and he has a goal of trying to get those 2,000 yards. So he knows every game that he doesn't play, that means he has to do double duty to get back on track. And so I think he's looking at it like he wants to get that 2,000 yards. And when you set that goal and you make that statement earlier in the year, and you're now on pace to get it, man, you're going to have to kill him before he not gets on the field.
Connor has a question for you.
It feels like that thought isn't, kind of everybody in the NFL. Some guys that aren't 100%, even if they're just a little banged up, they don't want to go. Have you ever kind of had those situations where you know who you are, how you play, and at 100%, basically no one can stop you, but when you're at 80 and your team needs you, like, was that something that you think about while you're playing in the game like Tyreek might be this week?
Pain tolerance varies, right? It does vary, and I think AJ could say this better, is there's certain pains based on your positions that you can maneuver through, and there's some that you can't. And, speak on this more, depending on the team, sometimes being hurt is almost like punishment.